so let us start with process. Okay, so we will go to the slideshow now. As we start the recording, okay, we are done. Okay, so we'll go to the slideshow. So now we'll be learning about the process. Okay, so objectives of the process. Okay, so objectives of processes. Okay, so here we are going to learn about process concept, process scheduling, operations and process, inter-process communication. Okay, so these are the 4 contents in our syllabus. So then we'll be learning what is a process. Process is nothing but program and execution. Okay, so which forms the basics of all the computations. So we write a program for doing some computation. So we say, okay, it is the basis for all the computation. Okay, so here we want to describe various features of a process. Okay, so scheduling information, so that is like if you are having more than one process, how we are going to pick up each process, that is called as a scheduling. So process creation, so how do process terminates, whether it is terminating normally, abnormally, what reasons so it is being terminated. Okay, and communication, then inter-process communication, how one process communicates with the other process. Okay, so there are actually two methods for communication, so we focus on, so that is a shared memory and message passing. Okay, so then we also describe about the communication in the client and server system. Okay, so next we'll be learning process concept. Okay, so process, job, program, all these the terms we use interchangeably. Okay, so we may bundle a group of programs, a group of jobs, so that is called as a batch system. Okay, so process can run in terms of a bundle. Okay, so at a time you can execute a set of process together in a foreground or in a background. Okay, so you also can run a process on a time shared basis. Okay, so like users program, okay, or a task, you may have multiple users, like 4 students are running the 4 program, so each one is given same time slot, some time slot 10 seconds each one has to execute. So whether you have finished your job or not, you have to leave after 10 seconds, the next process is given a chance. Okay, so like that, suppose process 1 2 3 4 are there. Okay, so each will get 10 seconds. So for suppose process 4 has finished, process 1 has not yet finished. Okay, so it will again, the turn will come back. Okay, so like that. Okay, we may use a term, okay, each user is getting equal time slot, but they feel that they are actually owning a system. Okay, so but actually each user is executed in his time slot, so that is called as a time shared system. Okay, so we in the textbook we use a term job and process almost interchangeably. Okay, so process is nothing but a program and execution. So process executes sequential fashion, okay, until unless you are having some conditional control construct, like, okay, so for loop or if else, like that. Okay, so you have multiple parts of program. So you are having program code called as text section. So you are having a program counter, so which is containing the address, okay, where of the next instruction in the program which is executing. So you have a stack, so which is containing the temporary data. So you have function parameters, which is the stack is having function parameters. Okay, if you are calling a function or returning a from function, so it is having return address, local variables, and so on. Okay, so it is having data section, so which is containing global variables. Okay, so it is having heap, which is containing memory dynamically allocated during the runtime. Okay, so program is passive. Okay, so process is active. So program becomes process when executable file is loaded into the memory. Okay, so you can start your program, okay, by executing using a GI mouse click. So in C programming text editor, you must have seen if you click run, the program is running. Okay, so or you can use a command line entry. Okay, so give some command for running, it is running. Okay, so one program can be several processes. Okay, so suppose if you are doing a reservation online, okay, so at some IRCTC website, so every user using the same program. Okay, but you are considering them as several processes. One program is becoming several processes. Okay, so that is a common code what we are going to use. Okay, so here you can see process is there in memory. Okay, so now process is having text, it is having data, it is having heap. Okay, so you are having a stack. Okay, so these are the contents of a process. So heap is used for having, okay, dynamic memory allocation. So stack is used for storing the return address, function parameters, etc. Okay, so this is a process in the memory. Okay, so now process will be there in a particular state. Okay, so either it will be there in new state, running state, waiting state, ready state, or terminated state. So process is being created. Okay, so whenever you create a program and save it in a hard disk, it is there in the new state. Okay, a process is there in a running state or a waiting state, or it is there in the ready state, or it is there in the terminated state. Okay, now a process keeps on switching between one state to the other state, okay, during the entire course of its execution. Okay, so waiting state, the process waiting for the event to occur. The process there in the memory, it is in there in ready state. Okay, it is when it is terminated, it is there in the terminated state. Okay, so now this is a important diagram from exam point of view. Okay, so whenever a process is created, the saved in the hard disk, it is there in the new state. So when you bring a program from hard disk to the main memory, so that you are calling it as a admitted. Your process is admitted from new state to the ready state. Okay, now when the program, there are multiple programs in ready queue, you are picking one program from that. Okay, so and giving that to CPU. Okay, so that is done by a program called as a scheduler. Okay, so you may have 4 programs. Out of 4 programs, only one is picked up. Okay, so by the scheduler, so it may be using some criteria. So based on that criteria, okay, a program is picked up. So that that is done by scheduler. We are calling it as a scheduler dispatch. So on scheduler dispatch, it is changing its states from ready state to running state. Okay, now from running state, suppose if okay it has executed all the instruction, it didn't require any IO. Okay, so it has completed its execution, so it is terminated. So we are saying it is exiting, so it is changing its state from running to terminated. Okay, or another case, so where suppose if a process running, interrupt has occurred. Okay, now interrupt has occurred, the operating system has to run the ISR, so the current process has to be terminated. Okay, now when it is terminated, is switching a state from running to ready state. Okay, so we are on interrupt, it is switching a state to ready state. Okay, then a process, suppose a process requires input or output device. Okay, now when it is requiring input and output device, if the device is not available, okay, then it has to wait for that in the device queue. So we are saying on IO or event wait, it is moving to waiting state. Okay, now after using the input or output device, on IO or event completion, it is moving from waiting to ready state. Okay, so like this your process is moving between one state to the other state. So in the examination, whenever it is asked, okay, so the previous slide what is given, everything you have to write down. So write down this diagram and write a paragraph about how it is switching from one state to the ready state. Okay, you have to give the description like in previous slide, the states of a process, write down the diagram, and then write a paragraph how it is switching from one state to the other state. So this is very important from exam point of view. Okay, now a process, every process whenever it is created, okay, a process control block is created by operating system. Okay, it is also called as task control block. Okay, it is called as a task control block. So it is having the following information: process state. So it is describing which state a process is currently in. It is whether it is running state, waiting state, whatever. Okay, program counter. So location of instruction to, okay, so we go to the next execute. So then it is having CPU register. So which is, it is storing the contents of all the register right now, whatever the process is using. Okay, now CPU scheduling information, what is the priority assigned to your process. So process number, each process will have a process number. Memory management information, what memory is allocated to your process. Accounting information, so how much of CPU it has utilized, how much of time it has passed. Okay, so IO status information, so what input and output devices it is using, whatever the files it is using. So all the information related to the process, whatever resources it is using, all will be there in process control block. So when a process created, PCB is created, it is also called as task control block. So when a process is deleted, PCB also will be deleted. Okay, now whenever CPU switch from one process to the other process, so immediately you are not switching as it is. Okay, otherwise what happens whenever you have to switch? Okay, so again suppose one process is running, interrupt has occurred. Okay, now if a process is immediately suspended, again, okay, you have to start the process from the first instruction. Okay, so we want to start a process from the point where it was suspended. Okay, so for that what we do, suppose process P0 is executing. Okay, some interrupt has occurred at this point. Okay, now process operating system will save the state of the process P0 into PCB0. Okay, saving the state in a sense, suppose whatever contents of registers were there at the time when it was suspended, whatever it is using, so it will be copied into the PCB0. Okay, and then that is nothing but, so other related information, return address, okay, so at what instruction it was there, what was the address of program counter, everything will be saved into PCB0. Okay, then it is loading the state of process 1, okay, into the PCB1, then let's start executing P1. So once P1 completes its execution, so it will again save the state of PCB1 before, okay, terminating this one, then okay, it will reload the state of PCB0, so then the process P0 can start the execution. So this is how it is very important to save the state and reload the save state, okay, of one particular process. Okay, so you cannot immediately suspend as it is. If you suspend, what will happen again if interrupt is occurring, that process will never execute. Okay, so you have to start at the point where the process was suspended. Okay, now threads, okay, so another concept, thread. So some one program is called as single thread. Okay, so you can have multiple program counter per process. Like suppose if your process is creating few more process, like a parent is creating child process using a fork command, so you may have multiple program counters for that, because thread is a concept, like thread is similar to a function. So in function what we do, main program will call a function, function executes a control return backs to the main program. Okay, so now main program calling program is waiting for the function to execute. So here it is not the same case. So thread will have, okay, when you have multiple program counters, multiple threads, okay, so thread will have a set of code, but it runs in parallel with the calling program. Okay, so for that purpose we have multiple program counters for that. Okay, so multiple locations, okay, you can execute at the same time. So we said we have thread library, so which is having information related to your threads, whatever threads we are using, how to create a threads, all that. Okay, so you have multiple program counters information in PCB of a main process. So we have a separate chapter on this. So in the next module we will see complete details about your threads. Okay, so process, whenever it is represented using a linked list. So this is a diagram what we can see. Okay, so process scheduling. Okay, so process keeps on switching between one queue to the other queue. Okay, so why the scheduling is done? So because we want to maximize the CPU utilization. Okay, so you have a scheduler, so it selects, okay, one process from one queue, okay, so to the other queue, or assign that to the CPU. Okay, so you have three types of queue: job queue, ready queue, and device queue. Okay, so job queue will have set of all the process in the system. So that means all the programs whichever are created are stored in the disk. Okay, so that is a hard disk. So that is that what we call as a job queue. So ready queue, set of all process residing in main memory, ready and waiting to execute. So this is a ready queue. Okay, now device queue, so set of all the process waiting for doing the waiting for the IO device. Okay, so every device will have its own queue. Okay, so the device queue may be individually named by the device name. So process keeps on migrating from either job queue to the ready queue. If you, when you bring a program from hard disk to the main memory, so it is moving from job queue to ready queue. Okay, now from ready queue it may go for execution. From execution, while executing, if it requires some IO device, it is moving from CPU to the device. So like that, your process switch on keeps on shuffling between different queues: job queue, ready queue, and device queue. Okay, now here you can see, so ready queue, so you have process 7 and process 2 which is there in ready queue in the main memory for execution. So you are having implementation of linked list, so with the header information. Okay, so now you can see magnetic tape. So there is right now no process is waiting in this queue. So for magnetic tape 1, okay, so you may have there is no process waiting. So for disk there is process 3, process 14, process 6 is waiting. Okay, now for terminal unit, okay, like in Linux environment you may have multiple terminals to use. Okay, so PCB5 is waiting. Okay, so you can see here there are separate device queues with the name of that device: magnetic tape, okay, unit 0, unit 1. So for disk unit 0, terminal unit 0. Okay, but ready queue is only one queue, job queue is only one queue. Okay, Now this diagram is very important. Next slide, next video lecture, we'll see the details of this. Okay, so where we show how the your process keeps on moving between one queue to the other. Okay, so this is also very important question from exam point of view. Okay, so next video lecture we'll see how we are going to how the process switches between different queues. Okay, so here we stop.